In the north of China, beyond the Great Wall, the land is flat and grassy. The plains stretch out towards the Gobi Desert and Mongolia. It is a wonderful country for horses to graze, and in the past, many of the people who lived there were great horsemen. A man called Sei Weng owned a single horse. But what a horse! She was a brown mare with a lucky white star on her forehead. Her eyes were bright and shone with understanding. In the morning she was frisky and liked to toss her head and snort through her nostrils. But when she was saddled up, she was so gentle and obedient that a child could ride her with ease. Naturally, Sei Weng was very proud of his horse. She was by far his most valuable and prized possession. And then one morning, when he came out of his house, he found that she was no longer tethered to the tree where he had left her. The rope was broken, and she was gone. Sei Weng scratched his head and wondered what had happened. Perhaps she had been stolen, or perhaps she had just run away. Later that day, he went to the market on foot. "Is your horse lame?" asked the women who sold vegetables. "No," said Sei Weng. "When I woke up this morning, I found that she had disappeared." But he did not seem upset. In fact, he wore the same calm expression of tranquility and acceptance as usual. The word soon got around that he had suffered a great misfortune. "He is putting on a brave face," said the neighbours to one another. "They must be very grieved by his loss." The blacksmith saw Sei Weng in the street and ran over to him. "You are doing well to smile, but we know that your heart is heavy, for the loss of your magnificent horse was the greatest piece of bad luck that could have befallen you." And Sei Weng replied, "Who can say what is good and what is bad fortune?" People thought that the attitude of Sei Weng was a little odd. But if it helped him to get over his unhappiness, that was understandable. As it happened, a totally unforeseeable event proved the wisdom of his words. A month or so passed, and one morning, when Sei Weng opened his door, he saw his mare had returned and was standing beneath the tree where he had left her. When she spotted her master, she picked up her head and walked nodding towards him, just like she had always done. But this time, she was not alone, for she had been joined by a brilliant white stallion. Now the villagers were envious of Sei Weng. He was the owner of not one, but 2 magnificent horses. The blacksmith gave him his heartfelt congratulations. "There we were, feeling sorry for you, and it turns out that you are the luckiest man alive." But Sei Weng shrugged his shoulders. "Who can say what is good or bad fortune?" he replied. The stallion was wild and needed to be broken in. Sei Weng was too old for that sort of work, but his son was eager to try. He saddled up the stallion and climbed up on his back. But the horse was spirited and did not care to be ridden. He danced and arched his back, and Sei Weng's son could not hold on for long. He was soon thrown to the ground. And as he fell, his leg got caught in the stirrup. It broke in 2 places. Reports of the accident soon spread around the village, and Sei Weng's neighbours came to commiserate with him on this unfortunate turn of events. His son was in bed and could not work. This left a heavy burden on Sei Weng. But he smiled and said, "Who can say what is good or bad fortune?" And sure enough, only 2 weeks later, the worst sort of news arrived in the village. War had broken out. All of the parents were alarmed and cried out in fear for the lives of their sons, for they would have to go and fight. Soon after, the recruitment sergeant came to the village and all the young men left for the army. All, that is, except for Sei Weng's son, for his leg would take a long time to heal and he could not yet walk. Now, Sei Weng was truly the envy of the village. What magnificent good luck he had enjoyed! His son would live to look after him in his old age. But as you can imagine, his only comment was, "Who can say what is good or bad fortune